From Carnac in Brittany in southwest France to Stonehenge in England, from the Iberian Peninsula through Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, our ancient ancestors left their footprints in standing stones, megaliths, as markers and reminders of who they were, what they did, their beliefs about the earth, about their living and their dying. A forever myth story for us to discover and discern. Today at Columcille in northeast Pennsylvania, a Back to the Future stone setting has appeared. A Megalith Park, a sacred site, a playground of myth and mystery for the human journey.
About 25 years ago, when I first visited Iona, or I should say my second visit, that little Hebridean island off the coast of Scotland and about 100 miles from Northern Ireland, a very sacred island, I began to have a lot of draw to stones. Not many standing there now, although at one time it was known as the Island of Standing Stones. Picked up some stones and walked with them, found them with good energies in this cold, cold place. I've always had an affinity for ruins, and there are ruins at Iona. There's something about them that ask one to use their imagination. They're like footprints from the past.
We stand on the Earth's first crusting. 3.6 billion years ago, the Earth hardened, like the crusting when one makes fudge. For over a billion years, this was a seabed, accumulating 12,000 feet of mud over a period of 12 million years. This mud is called shale. About a billion years ago, the continents of North America and Africa collided. The mountains formed became the highest in the world, grandfathers of all mountains. More earth movement, and it became a part of the Great Devonian Sea. Then came the glaciers. The last movement, the Wisconsin Glacier, piled ice over a mile high at the Delaware Water Gap. The mountains of Kittatinny were cut and reduced in size and height. Eight 8,000 years ago, there were people living in this area. Discoveries in the Delaware Water Gap suggested people existed here at that time. 8,000 years ago on the Iberian Peninsula and at Brittany in France, another group of ancestors stood stones and carved pictures in caves to say we are here and we leave footprints for the future. Later, these European ancestors, pre-Celts, set large standing stones, megaliths, in England, Wales, Ireland, and around the northern coast of Scotland. There are also megaliths found in the Netherlands and Germany. These large standing stones were markers, reminders, statements about who they were, what they did, and what they believed in. So today at Columcille, on this 3.6 billion year soil, we have placed some new footprints, representing the feet and faith, myth and mystery of our beginnings. A reminder for today, a print for the future. Welcome to Columcille, a playground of myth and mystery, a meeting place of our ancient ancestors, spirit of life, and celebration of death. As you approach Thor's Gate and pass through, walk back 8,000 years and meet your ancient families. Thor, a Hebridean mythological figure, the guardian of the north wind. Walk down the glen of the temple. 6,500 years ago, the same group of people who built Carnac in Brittany came to Iona and carved it into an earth temple. The glen of the temple still remains on the old maps of Iona and is found here at Columcille. Saint Columba, Columcille in Gaelic, came to Iona from Ireland in the 6th century, where he built a monastery. Columba respected the old religion of Iona and included it in his Christian view. And so he could say, "O Christ, my Druid." As we cross the bridge and enter the St. Columba Chapel, we enter a meeting place of our ancient ancestors from North America of 8,000 years ago, and those ancient ancestors of Europe, the pre-Celts. Indian and Celtic energies meet in a sacred council. Come in and learn from their wisdom.
My first vision on Columcille was to build a chapel. I saw it in my mind's eye, kind of right here, and I knew exactly what it was going to look like. And we built that in 1979. But that wasn't complete. The place, I still saw those standing stones, single tall megaliths. And one day while I was here in the house looking out at the field, I could see the circle, and I knew it was time to set stones. Went out and gathered some, both here on the land and down the road a bit, and set the first circle. When they were finished, they looked like they were always there. This is not how we did it, by hand. We used cranes, 40 and 30-ton cranes. We used backhoes and bulldozers and some manpower. The studying of the gate, of Thor's Gate, was the largest work I'd ever done, but I saw it before we did it, and it came out fine. I was determined from the beginning only to use uncut stones, stones that I would find that had been carved and grooved by age. There are a great diversity of stones. They're all conglomerates here at Columcille because most of them came out of the shale pit, which was underneath the Devonian Sea when it was here millions of years ago. The bell tower, which we call the St. Oran Bell Tower, is built in honor of one called St. Oran. St. Oran was either at Iona when Columba arrived in the 6th century, or came with him. Probably he was there. He's a wonderful story of Celtic life and myth. The story goes that Columba and the small band wanted to build a chapel, so they dug footers. But they couldn't get the walls to stand. Oran, or Drain, volunteered to be thrown into the footers of the chapel in order to appease the ancient energies of Iona, to go into the ground, to go into darkness, to give his life. They buried him, and of course the wall stood. But after 3 days, Columba had a Christian qualm and said, "Dig that man up." So they dug him up, and much to their surprise, he stood bolt upright, very much alive, and stated that all that they thought about Christianity and heaven and hell was not the way it was at all. And they promptly reinterred him. The bell tower is really a statement of the future. We're never going to finish it. You see it either half up or half down. We'll continue to work on it, perhaps, but it will continue to be a sign and a symbol in honor of St. Oran. That as oft as we ring the bell in that bell tower, it will be a reminder to whoever is here that the way you think it is may not be the way it is at all. That lovely white stone there off to the right of the chapel is the St. Bridget stone, named after the matron saint of Ireland. She has all the signs of wear and tear of the feminine of earth. At the same time, the stone illuminates even in the moonlight like a great flame of light, of which Bridget was the keeper and is the keeper. This large stone is Sirius, the dog star stone, set in order to trace the dog star Sirius as it crosses the southern sky in August. The latest addition to Columcille happened just this past October during no time. That's the period between October 27th and November 1st, when in Celtic lore time ends, and there's a few days in there in which there is no time. In fact, that's where our Halloween comes from, where the energies all wander around. The setting is called Dunee. We built the mound first a year ago, added onto it, and this year we set the stones. The large standing stone is the stone of Fail on Dunee. You'll see also the bench stone, which is the coronation stone. That's a natural form. Found it down the road also. Down here in the lower part of the glen, here in the back of the field, is the chamber entrance. This chamber entrance is made from pieces of billion-year-old stone. Entrances like this were found in Celtic times. There were entrances, chamber entrances into grave sites. This one has its own mystery and its own lore. The megaliths and stones at Columcille are really manifestations of that original prompting and vision that I had at Iona. They become a sacred playground of myth and mystery, of stones to dance with, play with, and let one's imagination go free.